Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us on our show, Spiritual States. As always, with us in the studio is Dr. Michael Laitman. Hello. Our topic for today is faith above reason. There is such a state in Kabbalah. Yeah, a non-simple one. Exactly. And from what I understand, in our world, it's clear what reason is. Everyone understands what faith is. I think that all of mankind has a general understanding of what faith is, that there's something, someone told you about it, you don't see it, you don't feel it, you don't attain it, but you believe in it. Reason, knowledge is that which we attain in our five senses. But what is faith above reason in Kabbalah? Well, in Kabbalah, it's something completely different. It's a state that comes to a person after a certain period of pretty persistent efforts, where he starts understanding what Kabbalah talks about, says about our world, about the spiritual world, where he performs certain exercises and then starts feeling that, in general, everything that goes on with him stems from some upper force, higher reason, higher will, desire. And when he starts feeling that everything that goes on with him happens according to a certain program, according to a certain plan, call it creator, the creator's will, his plan, then a person starts seeing that he's left just with one practical action in our world, which is whatever he feels in our world, he needs to relate it to the creator. And gradually this is what he does. Meaning everything that happens around him that's directed altogether in all directions, or that's directed at him, he attributes it to the Creator, to the upper force. And not because it says so, but because he starts feeling that in everything that goes on, there's a certain meaning and purpose. And it's in order to aim a person in whatever happens in life toward this one source, the Creator. And as a rule, a person starts feeling different unpleasant feelings, threats, fears, different defeats of his ego, his pride, his self-esteem, meaning he feels that the world is kind of hostile toward him in its different aspects, sources. And here he starts seeing a certain system of forces in all of these aspects called Creator, that envelops a person this way, so that a person will be directed toward him. So behind all the diversity of the still vegetative animate and the speaking nature, there's a certain force called Creator. Force, plan, program, one source. It's hidden from us. The force itself is hidden from us, but it's manifestations that it is doing all this with us, to us, so that we'll pay attention to it. Where is it? In the meantime, we don't understand. But simply what goes on with us, we become accustomed to see it coming from this one source. And when a person applies efforts in this way and tries in everything to see this one source, he rises to a different level of his attitude toward the world, toward creation, toward something called faith above reason. Meaning reason is what goes on with him, what he can feel in his five senses in our world, like any one of us. And faith is where he attributes whatever happens to him to the next degree, meaning to a certain force. You can call it Creator, or it doesn't matter. that this way gradually educates him, teaches him. So I don't exactly understand what's the difference. Reason, this I understand. Reason is what I feel. Yeah, the feeling of what goes on with me. Yeah, and I see that there are different events, things that happen to me coming from different sources, still vegetative, animate, and especially from other people. But faith, this I don't understand, because I need to believe that it all comes from one source. Any believing person does the same? No. Faith is a feeling that appears in a person, a feeling that everything that goes on with him, everything that comes to him, comes from this one upper source. It's a feeling. It's not just, it says so and he believes like any other ordinary person who believes in something, but it's an attainment, meaning he doesn't exactly yet attain the source itself, and the only thing that he can say about that source is that this source sends him all of these trials, and above all these trials, this source helps him turn to itself, to the source. This way, guiding towards itself. Pay attention to me. You're getting all of this from me. I'm the only one governing this world. I'm the only one that governs you and all of your actions and all of your states and thoughts, sensations, and all those around you. Over the entire universe, and everything that works on you comes from me. Well, look, I know many religious people, and their faith is so strong, they believe that everything comes from one force that it's very hard to distinguish. I think that they do feel, at least this is what they say, it's very hard to discern it from the attainment that you're talking about. And a person who has a strong belief and says that he feels what he feels, that yeah, it all comes from one force and it helps a person live his life better, more easily. I can't say what's the difference in terms of sensation of a person, of a religious person, from a non-religious person who didn't get it as a brain. It's the attainment of the Creator. It's the beginning of the attainment of the Creator as the source of everything there is. Is there no examination, meaning that a person can test himself? The examination, I'd say, is in that in an ordinary state, a person doesn't believe, but he believes only when he experiences some kind of defeat to his ego. Or when wonders happen. Well, I don't know about wonders. When he's cured from something, he was supposed to die, and in some miraculous way, he was saved. Well, possibly, but I'm talking about from what I see and observe on myself and my students. So we're talking about attainment. It is the beginning of the attainment of the Creator, where precisely in such critical states, sensations, appears the need for something greater, where a person doesn't understand what goes on with him, why, how. It all knocks him out, kind of confuses him. And then, as a result of these very strong inner turmoils, suddenly awakens this feeling that it all comes from the upper force. Maybe the examination is if a person justifies the Creator in any situation, because I can't lie to myself if something happens. No, we're talking about something else. When a person simply justifies himself in any, justifies the Creator. When a person justifies the Creator in any situation, this ordinary religious upbringing, I mean, to justify internally, because I can't lie to myself. If I get angry, if I'm not in a state of happiness and joy and fulfillment, then is that not to justify? No, to justify the Creator means that precisely when a person, without having anything to do with the Creator, he starts sensing precisely in the suffering, in the contradictions, in the opposite to the Creator qualities and actions, his presence. Where is this presence felt? In this world, I see you, hear you, I have 5 senses. This I get. This is how we attain our world. 5 senses and the Creator. In what sense do you attain Him? Is it like an intuition? It is the next sense. It develops. Is it somehow related to our vision, smell? No, not related, but exists above them. He is, or it is, their root. What we feel in our 5 senses and in our reason, it all stems from the next degree. That's why it's called faith above reason. Yeah, but in these roots, you can hear the Creator, see the Creator. These are different forms of attainment. Yes, of course, to hear and see. We also see it in prophets. There are those that talk to the Creator, and there are those that hear the Creator. I heard or I saw. So it's all an allegory, obviously, because the Creator is nature, and so how do you talk to Him? Depending on what level. On what level is the attainment of the Creator? Therefore, a person that on such a degree says, I heard, I saw, I heard a voice, or I saw a vision. What is it? It's nature. It is the attainment of the next informative degree that exists in nature, that exists above our 5 senses, which we perceive in our animal body. So, suppose the Creator talks to you and talks to me. You have your Creator and I have mine? That's something completely different. Everyone has their own Creator? Everyone has their own Creator. Isn't He one for all? No, that too is the next degree. In the meantime, we don't have identicality. I feel, you feel. Each of us attains Him individually, and afterwards happens the unification. So eventually we come to having one Creator. Yes, when we unite, the entire purpose of creation is to unite. Well, at least that, because each having their own Creator, that's really... Well, look, if He's leading us in the same ways, in front of me sit a few hundreds of students, I tell them about what we're supposed to start studying and attaining now. Each of them feels inside himself, in his senses, and above them. Meaning, in each of them there is the individual attainment of the Creator in the meantime, and gradually it's summed up in the tens and the thousands, etc. So, like in our world, if we say, suppose, this is stable, we both attain that this is attainable, but we can't compare our attainment. Right, but we have a common understanding that this is stable. Right, same with the Creator. That's why I'm saying, in general words, but each attains it in a particular way. Later on, this particular way disappears too, because there's one source, and then we start attaining this one source through our unification. Were we not to have this one source, we couldn't unite with one another at all. And therefore, nowadays, when in our world there's this problem that people need to unite simply in order to realize the Creator's program or to save themselves from problems, then the only salvation which we'll see is in aspiring for the Creator and uniting in Him. So, faith above reason. Reason is what we attain in our senses, and faith, it's some kind of additional, it is the root that generates all this knowledge and influences upon us. But it's clear attainment. Yes. So much so that it's stronger than faith. There's nothing stronger. Knowledge is beneath faith. Meaning what I feel, even what I feel, tells me nothing. The main thing is that I rise to the degree of faith and see the source of that which I sense in my reason. Reason, namely, my senses. So, faith in Kabbalah is such a clear attainment, tangible attainment, that it's much more tangible than what we attain in this world with our 5 senses nowadays. Of course, you start attaining the source of your attainment. What governs me? What do I feel exactly? I feel this world in my 5 senses, but there's the source of this world that builds, creates, generates this world for me. shapes it, and in this way I start feeling it. So for me it's important. The source is that which existed before the Big Bang? That's the source? Well, of course, before the Big Bang and in general.
Meaning it's the only upper force that governs everything and holds everything within it.
Well, we only have left to attain it all. It happens gradually and we're getting there. Thank you, spiritual states, faith above reason, all the best.